Hello friends, my name is Souvik and you're watching Souvik Says. It's time for another episode of Technoledge, so let's start. So friends, what we're going to talk about in today's episode of Technoledge is the various SoCs or system on chips and how do we identify which chip is better than the other one. So where I'm coming from is, I've seen a lot of my friends talk about or rather compare two phones and they say, phone X is better than phone Y because X has Snapdragon 650 whereas Y has Snapdragon 625. So obviously 650 is better than 625. However, that's not true, and at times it irks me, trying to explain it to them. So I thought, if that's what's happening with a lot of my friends, it will also be a case with the general public. So there is an understanding that the number after the Snapdragon name actually denotes how good or bad the SoC or the system on chip is, which is obviously not the case. Now, a disclaimer before I go into the topic is I've taken Snapdragon as an example because it is one of the more popular chips that are used on mobile phones. However, there are other manufacturers like a MediaTek or an Exynos that's manufactured by Samsung. There is a Kirin that's manufactured by Huawei. But we'll be looking at Snapdragon specifically for this episode. Talking of Snapdragon, it can be typically broken down into three subsegments or three series as Snapdragon likes to call it. The first one is the 800 series that's predominantly used for or used in the flagship phones. Then there's the 600 series that's more or less a mid-range phone chip, and the 400 that's predominantly used in the budget series. There also exists a 200 series, but we've not seen manufacturers come up with 200 chipsets in their phones anymore because that's extremely low powered. Also, another fact that we need to be aware of is that the demarcation between the flagship and the mid-range phone is kind of getting blurred now. So there are players like OnePlus 3T, which from a price perspective is mid to premium range, but it is a flagship specification that the phone offers. So my suggestion to you is when you are taking a decision in terms of buying a phone, obviously you will be looking at other aspects like a camera, like the screen size, the number of, the screen resolution, so to say. But if you are considering the chipset as one of your decision making points, please keep in mind a few aspects rather than just looking at the brand name or the model number after that brand name. So for the sake of this video, what we'll be looking at is the number of cores, the clock speed, and the GPU that each of these SoCs come with. Before we go deeper into the comparison or understand how we can compare two different chips, let's first understand a few terms better. So first is clock speed. It is the speed at which the microprocessor executes the instructions. So while you're using your phone or even a computer, you're sending instructions through to the microprocessor, and that's how the entire phone or the computer works. Now the speed at which the processor is able to address those instructions or work upon those instructions is what determines the clock speed. So obviously a processor with a higher clock speed means that it will be able to process those information, those instructions quicker, as opposed to a processor with a lower clock speed. Next up is the GPU or the graphics processing unit. We do play a lot of games with our phones. We do a lot of graphic intensive tasks. So the CPU by itself is not competent enough to handle those the system requirements to run those heavy games or graphic intensive activities, which is where the GPU comes into play. The GPU is a piece of dedicated memory that simply handles the graphic related instructions. Well, there would be some other aspects to differentiating between two chipsets as well. For example, a multi-core chip, which is something that's very predominant nowadays. You have octa-core, you have quad cores, hexa-cores, and so on and so forth. So each of these chipsets has a technology or a mechanism that breaks down the cores into performance cores which are able to handle a lot of tasks, but they draw a lot of power for them, versus power saving cores that can handle typical tasks with ease, but and also would mean that they would be drawing less power from the battery. So the chipsets usually have a combination of these. So for example, a quad core might have two performance cores and two power saving cores, or a hexa core might have a 3 on 3 or maybe a 4 on 2 kind of a mechanism. For the sake of the audience of this video, we'll not go very deep into that aspect. As I previously said, we'll just look at the number of cores, we'll look at the clock speed, and we'll look at the GPU. So let's dive in now, and I'll try to illustrate the difference through a comparison table that I have curated through a research on the net. So yeah, let's take a look at the comparison table now. So if I look at the series 800 chipsets, up top is the latest model, which is the Snapdragon 835, and that's built on a 10 nanometer architecture, which means the chip is really small and is able to do everything that its previous predecessors were able to do. It has 8 cores, and the clock speed is 2.45 gigahertz. Now a disclaimer once again here is that the numbers that you will see in the clock speed would be the maximum achievable clock speed for this processor. However, different OEMs or manufacturers, they tend to underclock these chips as well, in order to, number one, reduce the heat generated during operation, and number two, to enhance the battery life. Okay, so moving on, the 835 also has an Adreno 540 GPU, which is one of the latest graphic processing units from Qualcomm. It supports Bluetooth 5.0 and Quick Charge 4.0. Similarly, I have listed down the specifications for the other models, which is 821, 810, 808, 805, 801 and 800. Moving on to the 600 series, so 653 is the top of the crop in terms of the mid-ranger chipsets. It's built on the 28 nanometer architecture, has 8 cores with a maximum achievable clock speed of 1.95 gigahertz. It runs the Adreno 510 GPU and supports Bluetooth 4.1 as well as Quick Charge 3.0. So I'm not going really deep into each of these chipsets and telling you what it is. You can always read through this table and understand that. Yeah, so let's take that same example of the Snapdragon 625 versus a 650. As I told you as an example, someone told me that one phone comes with a 650 and hence it is better off as compared to a phone having a 625. So as you can see, the 650 is a 6-core chipset with a maximum achievable clock speed of 1.8 gigahertz, runs on Adreno 510 and supports Bluetooth 4.1 and Quick Charge 3.0. If we look at 625 now, it's built on the 14 nanometer architecture, which means this will obviously be a smaller chipset, a more power efficient chipset. This chipset runs on 8 cores instead of 6, as is the case with the 650. The maximum achievable clock speed is 2 gigahertz for each of those cores. The only area where the 625 lags is the GPU department, because it runs the Adreno 506 GPU, whereas the 650 runs the Adreno 510. However, in real life examples, the difference will not be perceivable so easily. So if you're playing games, which the normal stuff like a Candy Crush or a Subway Surfer, you will barely be able to make out the difference. The difference will be evident only if you're playing high-end games, I can't think of an example though. I'm not a gamer, so I don't have examples actually. Otherwise, if you look at the other specs, both of them support Bluetooth 4.1 and Quick Charge 3.0. So this, I think, this helps elucidate the example that, just the number doesn't help you understand if the processor is good or bad. It also depends on the specification for that chipset, as well as the fact that what are your needs from the phone. If you are trying to use a phone for a day-to-day use, I think a 625 will be better for you, because it will help, or it will be able to manage the day-to-day tasks much better. However, if you're a gamer and you like to play games on your mobiles, probably 650 is the way to go. Another advantage that the 625 might have over a 650 is the battery life. As I said, it's a 14 nanometer architecture, so it will obviously be more power efficient as opposed to the 28 nanometer architecture that the 650 works on. Alright guys, that should be it. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, please give it a thumbs down. But please do put in your comments as to what is it that you liked or disliked about the video. Please also share your suggestions as to what can be done better in the channel. What are the topics that I should be talking about in the future. You can also connect with us through Facebook, Twitter and Google+. I'll be happy to see you there as well. I'll see you in the next one guys. You have a good time till then. Bye-bye.